Hey there, aspiring guitarists. Today we're going to talk about guitar resources. And I have this real fancy overlay, that I dropped in on the screen because y'all know I don't do that and I'm not going to do that. And if that drives you away, well, I love that you came, but you get what you get. I'm trying to help you. We're going to talk about resources. This is a part one. I'm going to go into a little more detail with some of these, where I actually go into showing them. I'm going to show you a few things right now, but these are things that can help you as you learn guitar, be it on YouTube with other people, what have you. And I'm going to encourage you in the comments to add things that you think help you. I really am. So the first thing is a notebook. And it doesn't matter what kind of notebook it is. It can be a big one. It can be a little one. It can be a notebook, just something you can write in. If you don't want to do a notebook, maybe some Post-it notes or a little journaling pad or just, or a pull-up Post-it note, something that when you're watching a YouTube video and somebody says something, you need to look up or remember, you write it down. I realize we're entering a generation where the pen just isn't used like it used to be, and I realize you can say that finger typing is a substitute for the pen, but I disagree with that, and I am very computer literate, all the way back to when I worked for PC World Magazine as the chief system operator for PC World Online Communications. There is something about putting your thoughts on paper. Now, it could be in a notepad on a computer. Problem with that is that I found most people don't do that. They get so distracted by the use of a computer or an iPad or an iPhone or even a desktop that they don't have a dedicated source to put something on. And then once they start to, they get interrupted on that source. An email comes in, a message or this or that. Okay, so you get the point. But a notebook allows you to write down things you might need to remember or look up. Tab paper. Tab paper is something you'll find very important if you'll have it nearby. I'll talk more in depth of why that can help your guitar journey. You may think, well, I don't even know tab, but it's a big part of helping you understand tab. Chord diagram paper. I'm going to show you in part two some that you can get from Amazon. Ricky Kaminsky has them. Several people have them. A printer. The reason that I think a printer is a valuable resource is because, like, if I go to Ultimate Guitar tabs, there's an option to print out the song and the chords and things like that, which can be invaluable. That you don't have to waste your time and go back and, dig where you were. Did I bookmark it? Did I make it a favorite? What did I do? And then you can also go back to a notebook, a 3-ring notebook where, with a hole punch, so you can actually take those things you print out and put in there. And then that's your little guitar journey book that helps you remember the things that you wanted to learn, that you did learn, things that you needed to pick up. A Vidami. And there are several others. Let me reach down here, and there's a Bluetooth one. This one is actually wired, but if I would have had that when I was in high school back in the 70s and YouTube, which I didn't, the way we learned a riff or Stairway to Heaven or Roundabout with Yes or Sweet Home Alabama was you were fortunate enough to have one of your buddies show you. And he showing you once usually wasn't enough. Now, I knew guys that were like, I'm going to show you one time and then I'm done with you. Well, that's what they got back from other people too. But typically, if you were around friends, fellow guitarists, musicians, they would take the time. No, you need to go to the third fret on the third string. And they would show you things. Well, now we have YouTube. And we've all learned that we can back up the video. Well, the Vidami pedal that I just showed you is, and I happen to like Vidami, is one that with your foot you can hit the pedal to back up whatever increments you start, to pause the video, to restart it with your foot. That way you're not having to grab for a mouse. Great resource. We'll go into in depth about that later. Mini headphone amps. Now, I'm talking about, they've like, here's my little Vox. And the way this works, you plug this into the output jack of your guitar, be it acoustic or electric, and then you merely take the cables to a headphone and they plug into there, and then you can listen with your headphones. Now, this is even better if you have a silent type guitar. Y'all have seen the little Traveler guitar. I've also got a Yamaha silent guitar. There's all kind of practical usages from not disturbing other members of your family or other people, to having a more intense practice session, to playing drum tracks or metronomes, things like that in the background. We'll cover that a little more in depth in another part. So naturally you have the mini headphone amp, which is the Vox I showed you, and then you have the actual headphones and the cable that plug into it so you can hear it. Songbooks. Y'all see me cover songbooks time and time again. Songbooks can keep you from getting distracted. And you know, I've already got some videos on that, but there really are. I know people hate to, it's almost like, you know, I'm just not going to pay any money. Well, that's the reason I review some of them, in the hopes that it shows you is it worth it or not. Look at reviews on and listen out to your buddies and things that people recommend. Songbooks, like, y'all know I'm a big advocate. This is another reason that I have a printer. Graham Hall is my ukulele buddy. He does a every Friday ukulele song with his family, and he puts a link in there that has the ukulele chords, and my wife and I love to play them as I play with my family. Y'all see me do this campfire songs again, that not only has the chords, the tab, and the music, but it gives you all the different chords for many different types of instruments. Very valuable resource. So, songbooks. A capo nearby. If you don't have a capo nearby to actually put on the guitar, I recommend putting it on the headstock. What do I mean by that? Let's just grab this banjo right here. You know, you can take a capo, put it on the headstock. There you go, and that way it's nearby. And but a capo doesn't do you a bit of good if it's not where you can get to it. So, you know, that's a very valuable resource, is a capo. And, you know, there's a lot you can do with a capo. Everything from making bar chords easier to learn, to changing the key of a song where you can play familiar chord shapes. Capo's a valuable tool. A guitar, it's not a crutch. I'll argue that with anybody. Some of the greatest musicians in all time have used capos. No different than pedals on other certain instruments. A voice recorder. Well, I mean, you know, I've got a newspaper background, so, you know, that's a Sony digital recorder that, you know, actually pops out, and you can see right there, and goes in the computer. But, you know, you've also got recorders on your Android and iPhone. And then they make several other recorders, Audigo, and just several. Then we'll talk about that down the road. And a phone stand for recording. Now, they can be as simple. There's all kinds. You can go to Amazon and just get lost looking at them. But that's another way to record. You know, to have a little phone stand, you know, that will hold the phone up. So, but I'll tell you what I've also done in a pinch. Let me just show you here. Yep, I'm gonna knock the paper over. This is an eyeglass holder. I've actually taken my phone and stuck it in the eyeglass holder before. So why? To record yourself playing. And that's not for vanity's sake. That's so that you can see, did you hit the chords right? Were you in rhythm? What did you do? So that can be a very valuable resource for your guitar journey. Other recording devices, just like I said, a calendar. What's so darn special about a calendar? Well, you've got them on your phone. There's desk calendars, there's wall calendars. There really is something to setting aside a practice time and marking that you did it on a calendar and even knowing what you're doing. It can be as simple as, I'm going to practice C chord today and strum it and then come back up the first, second, and third string picking. It can be anything, but at least you've got a plan and you have something to stick to, and it's another little tool to focus. So just a calendar, and then podcast running in the background. I do a lot more than just guitar. But I also have a set of headphones when I'm cutting grass outside and doing other things, and I listen to podcasts, and sometimes I turn a video from YouTube into a podcast. Some of them call it a video cast, some of them call it a video blog. I've heard it called all kinds of things. There are some things that you have to see. But there are some things like Guitar Talk right now where you can just hear somebody in the background and they may say something that triggers your thought. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was made up of the first, third, and fifth note in the scale. I didn't know that had to do with majors and minors and things like that. It's like anything. It's like listening to music. You enjoy listening to music because you enjoy listening to music. So, if you have a love for the guitar and a desire to learn, listening to a podcast in the background can be a big resource that can help you. Well, these are a few. I'm going to let this digest for a while. The next video, I'll actually put links to some of the things, that I covered. Like, this is just one of many, many, many different little mini amps. Traveler Guitar makes them. There's all kind of them. Another resource, a tiny small amp near a computer. And there's some very small little battery operated amps we'll talk about. What else have you found is vital to helping you learn and further your guitar journey? Something that comes to mind I didn't put on a list are chord charts, scale charts, things like that are hanging near where you practice and things like that. So I just wanted to put this video out and give you an idea. These are the things that I came up with, just with actually a 15-minute sit down. Help others. If you got something else that helps you, put it in the comments. We'll further address this in part 2. So, like I always say, I hope your guitar journey is blessed. And I do mean it, folks. Happy picking.